All right, this is 3.7, number 11. We want to use the price-demand equation that's given to find values of P where demand is elastic. So the first thing that we need to understand is what it means for the demand to be elastic. So what needs to happen in order for that to happen is that, first of all, let's see, P is price, so the demand has to be greater than 0. We want positive demand. The elasticity of demand, and so that is E with the price plugged in, that needs to be greater than 1. And the revenue function needs to be negative. That means that revenue is decreasing in order for this to be elastic. All right, so we have to kind of check all of these three things. All right, so the first one, I'll label them so you can kind of see where we check all three. All right, so for the first one, we need to take our X equation that's up above. That is 935 minus 55p, and we know that that needs to be greater than 0. So I'm going to add 55p to both sides, divide by 55, and so P has to be less than 935 divided by 55, which is 17. All right, so we know that no matter what, this price needs to be less than 17. Okay, so the next thing that we need to calculate is this elasticity of demand. And that equation is given by, and this is one of the formulas that's given, negative P times F prime of P all divided by F of P. So that is negative P times the derivative of this function up above. The derivative is negative 55, all divided by 935 minus 55p. Now this all needs to be greater than 1. So the first thing that I'm going to do is multiply by 935 minus 55p on both sides to get rid of that fraction. The other thing that I am going to do, let's see, I'm just going to circle them. We've got a negative there and a negative there, so those become positive. There we go. All right. So the negative and the negative become positive on the top, and I am left with 55p. And then on the right-hand side, I'm going to have 935 minus 55p. I'm going to add 55p to both sides, so that's 110p. It's greater than 935, and so this leaves us with P needing to be bigger than the 9, I'm plugging this into my calculator, 935 divided by 110, which is 8.5. All right, so right now I have two pieces of information. I should actually kind of circle them because they're the ones that I need to keep in mind when I write my full answer. All right, now the next thing that also needs to happen, so the third thing, is that the derivative of revenue also has to be less than 0. Now, the show me my example goes through a complicated equation. I don't use that one. The formula sheet has that the revenue equation is P times F of P, and if you use this one, this is P times 935 minus 55p, and I'm going to multiply through by P, 935p minus 55p squared. Take the derivative, which leaves us 935 minus 110p. That has to be less than 0. This equation's looking really familiar from what we had before. 935 is less than 110p. And so P has to be greater than 8.5 again. So it's the same thing we got before. And so now if we put these two things together, then P has to be, you have to pay attention to which way this is faced. So P has to be bigger than 8.5 and less than 17 when we put together those two different inequalities that we got. And that would be our answer.